Hi guys, welcome to Generation Mingle. I'm your host, my name is Bee, and welcome my co-host Suzette.
Hello.
How you doing, Suzette?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today, considering that outside is, the heat of the August in Las Vegas. I think everybody's done in Oro Valley with that temperature.
Yes,
right?
we're all ready for our cooler weather
Please, yes. Well, guys, just wanted to say if you like our episodes and our topics, please subscribe. We are on the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We have shorts on the YouTube as well, guys. It's for free for everyone. If you need assistance and you want to sign up, I know my mom needed, okay? The Oro boomers do need it, so please reach out to those millennials and Gen Xers to help you out. But it's for free, and thank you for your support. So today we decide to speak about quite heavy topic because a couple of names have come to light, which was the actors that unfortunately passed away, Hayden Panettiere,
Yep.
I think. And then we do have a trial, unfortunately, for a female named Lindsay Clancy. That is associated with killing of her 3 children in 2023. She has been accused. So I hope our viewers already know what we're talking about. We're talking about postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis.
Yep.
That's our topic. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we do have disclaimer. We try never speak about any topics since we do have a background of nursing in medical field. We always, confirming that we, reading the journals and medical journals and all information from the experts, is based on the journals, medical journals, so such as CDC and so forth. So if anybody has any questions on that topic, right?
Definitely.
So let's go get, couple of facts for our generations that, our boomer generation have not spoke about postpartum. They even didn't know clearly that something like that exists, right? I think the first time the call's names was like a baby blues or something like that, right? Or just exhaustion and so forth. And that's the topic recently come to the light, not only because of that unfortunate, passing away of this actress and also another, charges against a mom that, took the life of the children, but, you have noticed that several actresses have been speaking about that subject.
Yes.
They were going through postpartum. So it's more and more we talk about it, which is nice, right? But just to say, on Generation Mingle, we're trying to learn from each other, from boomers to Generation Z, and this is why this topic is it's important to us, especially that again 2 females came into light and have been spoken more than often. So let's go maybe a little bit define, right? That our episode is strictly for education and little bit discussion. Is not that substitute for any medical advice or any mental health care for you guys, right? If you need assistance with anything at all, you have to reach out to your doctors, to your mental health advisor, therapist, and so on. Okay, if you want to find out more. But let's go speak about postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. That they are not the same diagnosis.
Correct.
Right. So most women with postpartum depression do not become violent, right?
No, definitely.
They're just, violent through themselves, okay? The postpartum psychosis is much rare. It's like 1 in 1,000, I think, right?
Yes.
Post-birth. And this is something that needs actually psychiatric emergency.
Yes.
Right.
And it's definitely a psychiatric emergency at that point too, because it can progress very quickly and
family cannot deal with that. Patient themselves cannot deal with. You need to search assistance, right?
Yes.
And we will, by the end of the episode or just in the middle, we will give you guys the information how you can reach, assistance. So let's go back to this actress, Hayden Panettiere. I hope I pronounce her last name correctly, right? So everybody publicly spoken that, she did have spoke about officially that she experienced postpartum depression and addictions, right? So, but let's go keep it in mind. What I really am a little skeptical about social media is that we're speaking about, someone, we mentioned that postpartum depression, but the whole situation is still on the investigation. We don't know, right? We don't know if that's exactly what it was. So let's go put a break on that and investigate. We all like headlines and get the views and stuff like that, but we need to be a little bit more cautious on that.
Well, and I think that's another thing too, is that we do need to remember that headlines are there to get your attention, but sometimes you really do got to read the article, because I found many times that the article doesn't even match the headline. So,
exactly. Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. That
it's so common
until we find out the true details. Everything is speculation at this point.
But definitely the topic is good. So thank you for reaching out to us. And I do have a letter for someone that was going through the postpartum depression. But I also want to mention again, back to this woman, Lindsay Clancy from Massachusetts, right?
Yes, definitely.
Again, no judgment here. We still don't know. The trial is ongoing, okay? And the her defense say that, she experienced postpartum psychosis. It has been said that she was treated on different issues and mental health problems. But again, we need to wait, because the case is still being decided in court.
Right.
And decision has not been made. So if you don't mind, I will go ahead and read a letter from the millennial for personal experience of postpartum depression. Okay. Dear Generation Mingle, I had twins. Right there already, I raised my eyebrows. It's right, twins. Everyone told me how lucky I was. 2 beautiful babies, 2 little faces, 2 reasons to be happy, and I was happy. But I was also exhausted in a way I had never experienced before. I was feeding one baby while the other was crying. Then I would switch. Sometimes I feel like I had just closed my eyes when one of them started crying again. I barely slept. I stopped taking care of myself. I didn't want to shower. I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't even want to answer the phone. People would come over and say, "Let me see the babies." Nobody asked me how I was doing. And honestly, I didn't know how to answer if they had. My husband was working overtime because we need the money. I knew he was exhausted too. I didn't want to tell him how bad I was feeling, because I didn't want to become another problem he had solved. I was embarrassed. I thought other mothers were handling motherhood better than I was. Then my neighbor noticed. She was an older woman, old enough to be my mother. One morning she knocked on my door and said, "I made too much food. I brought you some." The next morning she came again. Then she said something I will never forget. "You go lie down. I will sit here with the babies." I told her I couldn't pay her. She looked at me and said, "I didn't ask for money." She started coming over in the morning. Sometimes she cooked, sometimes she folded laundry, sometimes she simply sat in my living room while I slept. She never judged me. She never told me I should be grateful. She never said other women have twins too. She just helped. And one morning I finally broke down and I told her, "I don't think I'm okay." She says, "I know. This is why I'm here." Sorry guys, that's emotional, right? That woman may have saved my life. I eventually told my husband, I saw my doctor, I got help. Looking back, I realized how close I was to a very dark place. I wasn't a bad mother. I was a mother who desperately needed somebody to notice, a millennial mom.
Wow, what a great story for her to share, because I do think that that's one thing that, again, women haven't talked about over the years. We as women tend to be very strong and keep a lot of our emotions inside.
Absolutely.
And here she is, she knows her husband is, working hard. He's already exhausted. They're both exhausted. What an angel for her neighbor to come in and, notice that you know, she's going through a lot and she's got nobody there helping her. And, you know, when you're not sleeping well, you're not processing well either. So, you know, so many things. And then I think a lot of people forget that, you know, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks too after you have a baby for your hormones to readjust.
Exactly. That's,
you know,
my next,
you know, and so that's the other thing I think that people kind of forget, that, you know, everybody's excited about the new baby because the babies are so cute and adorable and we all love the babies. But yeah, I think
we forget about the balance.
Yeah, I'm hoping that one thing people take away from, you know, our podcast today is, you know, check on the mom and see how the mom's doing, because, you know, any of those little extra things that maybe you're able to help out with, doing a load of laundry, you know, cooking a meal, watching the babies, let her take a nap. Like, those are all really important things.
And I know it's very hard for females, even the millennials right now, or the Gen Z, still to reach out, because majority of people thinking, oh my gosh, you have been at home for last month, now you have a baby, you don't have to work, you're just taking care of the babies. But we still forget how overwhelming that all of that is for them, right? They are by themselves in pajamas all day, majority all the day. They're learning everything from changing the diapers from the child while it's crying, why doesn't one's fasting, one is awake at 2 o'clock, why is warm, why now is cold. Majority females do not know. And you know, I believe that because of the experience of that older lady as a neighbor, she knew and noticed something is not right. Maybe not specifically she could diagnose that she's going through, you know, postpartum depression, but she was just there for her, and that's all what it takes. And I just wanted to alarm also family member. I know the babies are cute and we want to, you know, praise the babies and ask about the babies, but with one eye, pay attention to the moms, what they need and how they need, right? And what I think, to do for them.
I think the other thing too is, you know, when you have a baby, you know, one of the things that, you know, they recommend is that when the baby sleeps, you sleep. But I think a lot of people forget. And
baby don't sleep.
Well, it's not even that the baby doesn't sleep. It's the fact that there still has to be things that are to be done around the house, you know, and as women, you know, of course, not every woman is the head of their household. And what I mean by that is like taking care of like the things within the household. But, you know, they're like, there's dishes that need done. There's laundry that needs done. This needs done. The bills need paid, blah, blah, blah. You know, all of that stuff, you know, they think like, oh, the babies are sleeping. This gives me time to get those chores done, where
that's not going to happen.
They need to take the time for themselves. Let all that stuff pile up, and again, that's where your family and friends and support come in.
Let's not forget about the you know, if they're using bottles, supplemental, right? What to do with the cleaning, the food for the baby, and laundry for the baby.
Right.
And there's so much more, so much more, right?
More.
So. Let's go, you know, just go through it. What's really postpartum depression, okay? It is a depressive disorder occurring right after the childbirth, right? And it can involve persistent sadness, anxiety, hopelessness, a loss of interest of anything, right? Changes in the sleep or appetite, difficulty of concentrating, right? Forgetfulness. An incredible guilt and feeling of worthlessness, right? Difficulty functioning. So all of that, if you notice that the person changing, keep in mind that maybe it's not just of this lack of sleep, right? So put the arms around that person and ask, how can I help? And if something else going on is more dramatic, you would know the person changed. Just advocate that person reach out, because there's so many now doctors that could be reach out and assess that your new mom to direct her in the right place. Right. So let's go check, because you know sometimes I'm always since we are in the medical field, we're always looking for the numbers, right? So let's go see how many women actually experiencing that, right? And it's very hard to put a number on that situation. So all these journals, including CDC, have told that it's really hard to establish number, but approximately 1 in 7 females suffering of postpartum depression. For me, this is a huge number.
It is. But I think we need to go back to one of the things that we also need to hit on is the fact that, it is normal in the first week or so of what we want to call for women to have the baby blues because they're exhausted. I mean, they just went through hours of labor, all of that stuff, going through everything. So one of the things we do need to be aware of is that postpartum depression usually starts happening around after 2 weeks, and that's when we are seeing a lot of the signs where they're not maintaining daily life, and that's where we really do need to pay attention. So just to kind of caveat that. And then it is crazy that, according to the CDC, they're saying that 1 in 8 women with a recent live birth have reported, the symptoms of postpartum depression. So that's a high number when you think about how many people are having babies.
Yes, and I'm going to go back to the social media because of the actress, that passed away, to think about, suicide. So keep in mind that when people hear in the postpartum depression, not always postpartum depression is immediately that extreme case. Not to say that you need to ignore, but please be very careful, because postpartum depression does not immediately tell you that it's common associated with the suicide. So you have to be careful on that as well, not push too hard. You have to be very sensitive and delicate because the younger mothers are emotional. I know that. Because I remember.
Well, and I think especially being a first-time mom, it's probably even more stressful. And then, of course, the good part of it is that postpartum depression is easily treatable. And I think with today's numbers being higher too, I think providers are doing a better job at following up with women after their
new generation,
pregnancies, of making sure that they're asking about these signs and symptoms of postpartum depression to get them on the right treatment, as soon as possible, to prevent the psychosis from occurring too.
Even that I said, be careful with the suicide, we do have to remember, yes, they happening.
Yeah, they do.
And just per CDC, I want to read something for you guys. Yes, the research have indicated that mental health related pregnancy deaths, including suicide and substance related deaths, represent more than 20% of pregnancy related deaths in the United States and are leading cause of preventable pregnancy related deaths.
Wow, that's
so
high.
It's out there. So we have to be careful. Now also keep in mind, that we think a female has a child and has a family support. Now we have to remember how many females are actually single mothers as well.
Exactly.
And they don't have that overseen, so thankfully we speak about this on medias, and the doctors are aware about that situation, because I remember nobody asked me if I'm depressed or what's going on or if I need any help. I was always, I can do with everything on my own. I was extremely exhausted. My gosh, yes, I think I didn't sleep at all for 6.5 months at all because my child didn't sleep at all. So, but I survive, and I think that's the Gen X's situation, and I'm not trying to make myself any hero, but it will be nice to understand. Be careful, because maybe you're depressed. Maybe it's not just only the baby blues, So let's go, just touch a little bit about on that, psychosis, because we spoke about postpartum. So, like we said before, psychosis, postpartum psychosis appear 1 in 1,000 after the childbirth mothers, But we can remember that psychosis, involve hallucination, delusions, severe confusion, mania, extreme mood changes, from happy to, to sad, paranoia, disorganization at home, complete, disorganization in thinking, and there's completely loss with the reality, contact with the reality. So this is emergency, guys.
You're going to see more bizarre behavior that kind of doesn't make sense to you, so that's going to be one of the red flags that you're going to be looking for.
And the most women with postpartum depression do not kill or harm the children, just like we said, So keep that in mind. They're extreme risk of infanticide is particularly associated with severe postpartum psychosis.
Correct.
Okay, so what I want to, just mention again, based on all this research that we have done with the medical journals, that it is really important that family, if you think some changes are, we want to mention, Ms. Suzette, a couple of things that you need to, again, pay attention to. I said that before, but I want to again reinforce that, right? So it's persistent sadness, hopelessness, severe anxiety, or a panic, withdrawal from family and friends. If they don't call you, they don't speak to you, they just disappeared in the room, there's some sign something's going on, get engaged,
or even
right?
if, again, you're reaching out to them and they're not responding to you, pay attention to that. Maybe alert a family member, maybe drop in and try to see them, see what's going on, because maybe there is something more than just the exhaustion of just having a baby.
Right, and you have to pay attention, because exhaustion and extreme exhaustion is very hard to notice as well, because nobody will be telling you that, right?
Right,
you have that
exactly.
blank look,
so sometimes you got to see with your eyes.
And, again, feeling the worthlessness or the guilt, right? And where the psychosis is, like I said before, hallucination, delusion, extreme confusion, paranoia, very unusual and bizarre behavior, and severe agitation, and rapidly change the mood, okay? But I want to go back to this neighbor.
Yeah, okay. Hallelujah for that neighbor. That's all I have to say. Is what a wonderful woman.
Yeah, so she didn't wait for the young woman to ask for help.
Yeah.
She didn't ignore, like majority people, I don't want to deal with that. Let's let them, that's not my life, not my household. I don't want to get involved. And we see that more and more. And sometimes I notice as well, it's too much for me. I cannot, be engaged in that, right? So that makes huge difference.
Well, and again, I think that's kind of where we look at, the purpose of the podcast is talking about the different generations. And, back in the boomer, age, most women stayed home. So, there was, and a lot of women at that time stayed close by to where like their mothers lived. So, a lot of families had their moms come for, a few weeks after pregnancy.
That was normal. Entire family was involved.
Yeah, they would help out, same kind of with the Gen Z with Gen X. And then I think as the Gen X generations that women started having to work more, a lot of women are forced to go back to work, quickly after having a baby, 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Right.
And so then I think that only piles upon the exhaustion and, helps to elicit a lot more of these, symptoms of occurring.
But, what I wanted to say, this is why we started that Generation Mingle podcast, because generation have separate from each other.
Right.
There's so many millennials that do not speak to parents, to grandparents, right? Gen Z is moving out, whatever that is. So this is why that younger generation now is, by themselves. And they don't have the connection, and they're too proud, or there is any grouch, or whatever's going on, right? This is why we have that Generation Mingle, because I want to connect the generation. Because even if you think that someone said something wrong, someone in your family knows, has expertise, they are familiar with what you're going through, something similar, even if they don't understand your current status of mental health or the exhaustion or how that life looks today, they will be able to grab that baby, hold in the arms, and you can have a 15 minutes nap, right? Just like the neighbor did. So most likely to this particular person, that's what it was. She lived alone in the city without the families, and we see that very often here in Las Vegas. So many families moving without a parent.
Right, exactly.
Right, it could be devastating.
Well, and then also, as you said, there's a lot of single mothers out there, so they don't necessarily have, a companion to help with. So, they're in need of more of their families or, what we'd like to call community, your friends, your social network. And then even in this situation, the neighbor, you know?
Yeah. So the good news is, now keep in mind that according to the Professional Association of Physicians specializing in obstetrics and gynecology, there is a treatment for that.
Yes.
Okay. So please, guys, okay, do not panic. And maybe before, even when you're pregnant, that's where you have time. Read about it, right? Prepare yourself. Oh, it's not gonna be me.
Right.
No, just read everything. Just like you read how you take care of the baby, read how you need to take care of
Right.
yourself post-birth, right?
Yeah.
So the treatment can include psychotherapy, medication, social support, and practical intervention. Treatment should be individualized.
Yes.
Because we all are different. So again, reach to your doctor that they can direct you, and if you cannot go anywhere, just try to find teledoc, okay?
Yeah.
Or talk to the pharmacist.
Yeah.
They can point you out as well. There's so much help
Yeah.
out there.
And another thing I wanted to mention too that I really like about, again, you know, how we've progressed through the generations is,
Right.
you know, now the federal government has allowed for parental leave.
Right.
And so
It's
that
better
allows,
right now. Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
husbands also to be off work when, to allow baby bonding time.
Yes.
And of course, that's a huge thing because, again, it does allow for a woman to have that more support at home.
Right. And
So-
the spouse to understand as
Right.
well what she's going through, because majority spouses and fathers, they have been focused, let's go bring the bread on the
Right.
table, and they have not seen really those details. Not that they were ignorant or that disrespectful.
Right, no,
that
not
was
at
not
all.
the focus.
Right.
So just put the hands in to take care of the baby and staying up all night and seeing that life by themselves for a minute. So good for the marriage.
Yes,
so
good.
right? So, guys, we're coming slowly to the end. What I just wanted to let you know before we finish, okay? We want to make things very clear, okay?
Yes.
If you guys have emergency or anything you know is going on, if a mother is talking, God forbid, about suicide, okay, or they're complaining about anything, or they're just disappearing in front of your eyes, you
Right.
need to take charge. So for all the mothers out there, I think you have the crisis line, lifeline, right, phone numbers?
Yes, definitely. So if you are seeing anything, you see bizarre behavior, you know, please, they can call or text 988. That's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can call 911.
For immediate, you
Yes,
know,
get into the
yes,
emergency
yes,
room.
yes.
Better to be safe than sorry. You know, again, there's help 24/7. You can go to hrsa.gov, to the National Maternal Health Hotline, supports pregnant and postpartum moms. The National Maternal Mental Health Hotline offers compassionate support 24/7.
The chat is free.
Yep.
And confidential, guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And the phone number is
833-852-6262. I'm going to repeat that again because I
Yes,
think it's
please.
important. It's
Yes.
833-852-6262.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you want to write to us about your experience that has to do with postpartum, you know, just baby blues or the postpartum depression, please reach out. We're more than happy to, you know, to read your story and help the other generation. If this is a boomer or the Gen Xers or the millennial, the Gen Z, please reach out to us. And as always, I say, you know, with the happy thought, keep your music loud. Okay, don't wake up your baby. And your Wi-Fi strong that you can connect with us. And keep talking to each other. Generation can help each other, especially with new moms, and keep on mingle. Thank you so much, and thank you, Suzette, for your assistance today.
Thank you.